Saint Joseph the Worker. The Bible reveals that Saint Joseph was a carpenter, but did he work only with wood? The word faber, used in the Latin scriptures when defining Joseph's occupation, was a general term applied to a craftsman in any material. This could be one who works with wood, stone, iron, or even precious metals. Saint Hilarion, Saint Isidore, and Saint Bede believed that Joseph was an ironsmith, and wrote in their commentaries on the Gospels that Jesus was the son of the smith who subdues iron with fire. The great saints Justin Martyr, Thomas Aquinas, and John Chrysostom, however, held the opinion that Joseph was in fact a worker of wood, and as was Jesus. St. Justin Martyr writes, Jesus came to John, being reputed the son of Joseph, the carpenter, or worker in wood, and he himself was reckoned to be a carpenter. For while he dwelt amongst men, he had performed carpenter's work, making ploughs and yokes, teaching us to live just lives, free from idleness. St. Thomas Aquinas writes, Jesus was reputed to be the son of Joseph, who was not a forger of iron, but a worker in wood. St. John Chrysostom writes, therefore, Mary was espoused to a carpenter, because Jesus, the spouse of the church, was to work the salvation of the world by the wood of the cross. The accepted idea is that Joseph was truly a carpenter who worked with wood, but also worked with other materials. The earliest art depicting Joseph shows him holding carpentry tools, but he may be envisaged working with both wood and iron. He could be called on to build furniture, or to help build a neighbour's house, or to replace a lock, or to hang a door. What Joseph did for a living is not as important as how he did it. Certainly, Joseph was known as being not only a fine workman, but also a man of integrity. Joseph was a master of his trade, and put care into the work he did for people, and the people of Nazareth knew this. They knew that he was not at all greedy or unfair, but was an honest man to do business with. Mother Cecilia Bay reveals this. She writes, Saint Joseph performed all his work exceptionally well, and everyone was always impressed by it. Joseph only took what was offered to him for his labour. He left the amount of pay up to them, and he received it from them with thanks, as if it were a gift, rather than payment owed to him. In his little workshop, Joseph would always make time for prayer, and would often lower himself to the ground and make a complete oblation of himself to God. Pope Leo XIII writes, For Joseph, of royal blood, united by marriage to the greatest and holiest of women, reputed the father of the Son of God, passed his life in labour, and won by the toil of the artisan the needful support of his family. It is then true that the condition of the lowly has nothing shameful in it, and the work of the labourer is not only not dishonouring, but can, if virtue be joined to it, be singularly ennobled. Joseph, content with his slight possessions, bore the trials consequent on a fortune so slender, with greatest of soul, in imitation of his Son, who, having put on the form of a slave, being the Lord of life, subjected himself of his own free will to the spoliation and loss of everything. Jesus, the young carpenter. After several years in Nazareth, the transition in the life of Christ was at hand, and he was to engage fully in manual work at his Father's side. In the years leading up to this, he spent most of his time with Mary in the home of Nazareth, while his father worked to provide for the family. As Jesus grew into manhood, he became more involved with St. Joseph's work in the family's carpentry shop. A scene is given here by servant of God Mother Cecilia Bay and a reflection by Pope St. John Paul II. To see Jesus present in his shop made Joseph's heart leap for joy. Turning to Jesus, Joseph said, "Oh, my dear son, you already know that my desire is to be at your service, but the Heavenly Father has decreed otherwise. In obedience to him, I shall have command over you. Nevertheless, I shall do only so to fulfill the will of God." In reply, Jesus encouraged Joseph to make his demands freely, as they were both obliged to carry out the designs of the Heavenly Father. The divine youth always stood by, ready to be of service, and he wanted to be commanded by Joseph and thereby practice humility and submissiveness. Work was the daily expression of love in the life of the family of Nazareth. The Gospel specifies the kind of work Joseph did to support his family. He was a carpenter. This simple word sums up Joseph's entire life. Having learned the work of his father, Jesus was known as the carpenter's son. If the family of Nazareth is an example and model for human families, in the order of salvation and holiness, so too, by analogy, is Jesus' work at the side of Joseph the carpenter. At the workbench where he plied his trade together with Jesus, Joseph brought human work closer to the mystery of the redemption.